Yes, I think we were talking about movies that can't or should not be remade, since
Either way.
either way, because remaking has been like all the rage in Hollywood, especially like the live action remakes from Disney and stuff like that.
For like the last 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's definitely been an ongoing trend. Um, yes, I mean, I guess I'll let you guys start. What do you think are some of like obvious ones that should never be remade, and then we can go to other ones that maybe are not as obvious.
When you say remade, do you mean a direct remake, or do you mean even, or would you even include like a spiritual successor, like where, like, let me give you an example. A lot of people would say that Die Hard has been remade like 15 times because Speed is basically like Die Hard on a bus.
I can see that. I mean, but it is still a different movie. I think the
I,
idea
I
is to,
totally think it's a different movie. I'm just saying,
yeah.
would
I mean,
you, you're talking more like a direct remake.
no, because a remake is like something borderline has the same title. Like, there was a remake of, for example, there was a remake of Psycho that really, really shouldn't have been remade.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was recently like that Hulu movie, The White Man Can't Jump, which
Yeah.
was also a classic. Like, I don't think that one should have been remade. But
I
this
didn't
is,
see the remake, but I can't imagine it was as good as the original.
yeah, and I guess and then that could be a spring off like point like for the subject is like I understand why White Men Can't Jump makes sense because there's a young culture that's into basketball and into street ball and all this stuff and social media and all this crap, and they're not the type of people that tend to watch old movies. So to introduce them to this, to another movie and kind of revamp it to modern times, I sort of understand that. But examples of movies that you really should not remake, like the say like the top off my head would be Wizard of Oz,
Mm.
Godfather, Star Wars, the original trilogy. Like and anybody trying to remake those movies just with new technology but same story, I just feel like that's just it's just
Yeah.
sacrilege. I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. Um, I mean,
Well, J.J. Abrams almost did it.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Uh,
Yeah, that's
uh,
more of a spiritual. Yeah, but like Citizen Kane. There's a
No,
few
I
of
get what you're saying. Yeah.
But there's a few of these movies that, if you want an example of a movie that could be remade, even though it's like a classic, like I can see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest being remade. I mean, that's like an Oscar winner and everything. But yeah, could you make it again in 20, 30 years for a new generation? I would say that's more of a possibility than, say, The Godfather.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I would argue that just as a blanket statement, you know, that a safe bet would, or like a safe way to say this would be classic movies. If it's the best picture winner or something like that, it tends to give you the idea that maybe this is a movie that was made right and doesn't need a remake ever, kind of thing, right? But then, before I really say that, I think it stands to reason that, it's worth pointing out, is a better way of putting it, um, that many Oscar-winning films have been remade, and some of them very successfully. So what do I know?
yeah, I mean, the recent example is, I mean, Spielberg doing West Side Story, which was an
Um,
Oscar winner.
I've still never seen the original or the other earlier versions, but from what I've
Yeah.
been told, Star is Born was done twice, I think, already before the recent one.
Yeah, although that one has, A Star is Born, I think the reason why a movie like that is more ripe for remakes is because it's got the element of bringing a famous musician into the movie.
Right.
Of like, so
Well,
every generation you can bring a different musician in, but
well,
right,
uh,
but that just goes to show that it can be done. Is all I'm saying.
it can't be done.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll stand by my position that anything with Greta Garbo is remakeable.
Okay, I
And
didn't know you have that
anything.
position.
I did know that he had that position. I throw,
she was the worst actress in the history of mankind.
no, I don't know about that, but that's pretty.
I like just I mean, basically her mannerisms on set were were basically the same that I had when I was going through alcohol withdrawal, and my body was just like thrusting against my will. I mean, like, she is that bad of an actress. She is awful. she she was that bad. Yeah. So the Grand Hotel, yeah, remake it. The Painted Veil, yeah, remake it.
They did, and
Remake
successfully.
it again. I mean, it was already remade. Remake it again. I don't
I
care.
thought the one with Naomi Watts was really good.
Yeah, Greta Garbo was absolute trash.
Let us know how you really feel.
If you want to talk about a movie that would be not only shouldn't be remade, but just would be really tough to pull off, almost like the Psycho thing,
Yeah.
is Chinatown.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just don't
Yeah.
think that movie is just so precise
yeah.
and so specific, like to what it was and the actors in it and the feel of it. I just don't think you can duplicate that. It's I mean, I think there's some Scorsese movies that you can say the same thing, like a Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas. You can't. It's just they're like lightning in a bottle. You can't really. Even Scorsese himself, like, he will try to make them again and will fail.
I
Yeah.
recently read an article. Never mind. I didn't read the article. It was total clickbait. But the Michael J. Fox was recently interviewed and said that he, I believe this is not a direct quote, but something to the effect of, "I don't think that the Back to the Future movies need a remake or ever should be remade, but I'm confident that someone will soon."
That's a good one. I did see that article,
Yeah.
and I do think they shouldn't be remade because they
No, I
really are
completely
the
agree.
true classics of time travel. Like, it's so timeless. They have such a big following.
They're awesome.
No
You don't
pun
need to remake
intended.
those.
Timeless. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's but I guess what are examples of, I mean, they did a remake of RoboCop. I mean, that makes sense. It's just an
Yeah, but it
action.
was trash.
Yeah, but still, but
I think you
yeah,
could remake RoboCop. I think that movie
but
could
it
have
wasn't
worked.
as good as the original. Yeah, for sure.
It was trash. Also, they did a remake of Total Recall. It was also trash. It could have been good. It was better than RoboCop, but it was still bad because they changed some of the best elements of People's script. I think it was a People's script, wasn't it? Anyway, not important. But but then for every two of those that sucked, then they also remade Dread, and that one was way better. So
Yeah, it was a slightly better movie than the
slightly.
other one. It was better. It was definitely better. Uh,
I was
yeah,
gonna
and
say,
I'm definitely like looking forward to Edgar Wright's Running Man.
oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. Ones that I don't think, I'll just say, um, I can't think of anything that Quentin Tarantino has made that I would ever want anyone to remake.
Yeah, there's no way to remake. I mean, especially Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. I just think that's impossible.
I don't think you're going to be able to capture Jackie Brown the same way. I don't think you are going to be able to do even his more recent movies. I just don't see it. I don't see anyone else doing it right ever. Why would you?
Yeah, no, and maybe that's a good point. Just the singular vision of certain directors. They just have this. It's a very very specific style that they have. That to
Yeah.
remake those movies,
Well,
just yeah,
I mean, it's also just Tarantino as a writer
Yeah.
in this
yeah,
sense. I mean, like, people just don't write like him. And I mean, it's fucking hard, you know. It's,
um,
just try to imagine rewriting Pulp Fiction, like any of the dialogue. I mean, like there are like maybe two people who write dialogue like Quentin Tarantino does, and one of them is David Mamet. I don't know. Fill in the other one.
No, I mean, I think not. I don't think they write the same way, but there's definitely examples of
Oh,
very good dialogue
as well,
writers.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, as well. Like, I mean, Aaron Sorkin is definitely a big
Ooh,
one,
he's really good.
Yeah,
and and Paul Thomas Anderson. Some of his dialogue is really solid. Is
yeah.
definitely up
Yeah,
there.
it's
But
too bad his last movie wasn't better.
I mean, it was very very good. You didn't like it as much, but that's okay.
But yeah, I
um,
mean, we're
it was
still
not as good as
talking
Phantom
about.
Thread.
I mean, we're still talking about four people.
Yeah, yeah. No. There's definitely. I mean, yeah. I guess we veered off to that to the subject, but yeah. I mean, it's. But maybe that's a good point. There's something very singular about certain filmmakers, whether it's the writing style or the filmmaking style, that it's just. It's tough to duplicate. I guess that's an argument for Paul Verhoeven of all people. That
Right?
it's.
Yeah, two of his movies we just mentioned, and if they tried to remake them, they were both bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I
no way
mean,
to remake like Starship Troopers.
no, they tried making sequels, and they were all awful. I was gonna say this. While I totally agree with that trend, that little bit we were just talking about. I think other singular movies too, just like I just threw this on there. I don't like Bridge on the River Kwai. I mean, like, I guess you could try to remake it. Is it going to be even remotely as good? Probably
Yeah,
not.
and even more so. I mean, that is my favorite David Lynn movie. But a bigger example, of course, is the Elephant in the Room is Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, that one is
Oh, sure.
so popular. Yeah, no, it's certain movies just if nothing else, it'll just be a huge undertaking. but
Yeah,
um, but at the same time, if to think of like action movies that probably shouldn't be remade, but are not like say classic, is Independence Day. I don't think should be remade.
certainly
Um,
not.
yeah, there's definitely a few of them that are just so. You know what I can see, but maybe being remade, even though it's like a almost like a classic bad movie, as Demolition Man, actually.
If someone had a great script, I could see that being remade. Yeah,
Yeah, that could
it's one
be.
of those ones it probably wouldn't surpass the original, but you could do some fun stuff that would be a little different. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I am curious, like when I noticed, like when I was looking up that Barry Jenkins, like his next movie, the Lion King movie that he's making. When I read that the synopsis for that is that it's essentially the plot of Godfather 2, it just with Simba being Pacino and his dad being De Niro in a way.
I
Um,
have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah, so apparently he's making and I don't know if this is the case. I just know that I read the synopsis. You shared this thing with us about like the making fun of like Disney remakes and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I remember that he was making a Lion King movie. Barry Jenkins, who did Moonlight and Beale Street, if Beale Street could talk, and the Underground Railroad, and like all artsy projects. But all of a sudden, I don't know. I don't know if it's live action or animated, but in any case, yeah,
Like they're
uh,
going to
s-
use lions?
it's a sequel prequel. Like it's gonna be the two stories. It's gonna be Simba as he takes over the pride and comes into his power as prime, and while being intercut with the past when his father Mufasa, right?
Yes.
When
Yeah.
he became the leader of the pride, like when he rose to so it's essentially Godfather 2. That's kind
I
of like
Jesus
what's
fucking Christ.
I don't know if I could be simultaneously more confused, intrigued, and horrified all at the same time.
Yeah, and it's by someone who did an Oscar-winning movie. But for
Yeah.
some reason, and I think he did that because he's probably going for an all-black cast and stuff, because it's Africa, it's lions, it's he's
Oh,
going
so
for
so
like
it is going to be humans. It's not going to be like lions.
no, but no, but what I'm saying is that like I think it's gonna be
It's gonna be
animals,
black actors.
black actors voicing them, but
Okay.
but he's gonna make it like very authentic, very cultural, very I have a feeling that's the assumption that I'm getting, like somebody who's like came from the independent world is not gonna go off and make a Lion King movie that's just like junk Disney. He had like an agenda. Like he had like no reason to make that movie. He had this idea and he wanted to explore that idea, and maybe it's a risk. But hopefully it's gonna be good. I don't know. I mean, I can only root for people that are extremely talented to do something right.
I mean, I didn't see the Disney Cash Grab Studios, which is what I call their live action remakes department. I didn't see the live air quotes live action remake that they did in 2019 of The Lion King. But I mean, all I can say is Jon Favreau started out as an independent filmmaker, right? I mean, he's made phenomenal films, and nothing in that trailer made me want to watch that movie. So.
I did watch the live action Mulan, and after I was done with it, I was just like, yeah, I'm done. No.
That one broke me as well.
Like Disney over. This
I'm
is
not over with Disney. I'm just over with Disney Cash Grab Studios.
I mean, no, that movie was such garbage. That, like,
I agree with you.
I won't watch anything from Disney until they show me that Kathleen Kennedy is dead.
That's extreme.
And that they're actually listening to reason. I mean, Mulan was such bullshit that I can't even really put it into words. I mean, it's just like the animated movie was kind of cool, right?
Kind of cool. It's like one of the best movies they've ever made.
Yeah, I mean, she, but she had obstacles. She needed to actually climb
it's one of the
the
greatest
ladder.
female empowerment movies of all time.
Right.
I haven't seen it. I guess I should watch it.
It's outstanding. If I ever had to become a like a junior college film professor and teach movies to people, when I tried to teach them about making a montage, Mulan would be one of the 4 films that I would show them.
Yeah, I guess I should make that the next movie with the kids.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Wait, how old is your youngest?
He's 4, almost 5.
You showed him Coco, right?
Yeah. Well, I think he's seen Coco. Yeah.
I don't. Let's just say he'll probably be fine. He'll probably be fine. Let's just say there's a higher death count. There's a higher death toll body count in Mulan than there is in others, because it's literally about war.
Yeah, I mean, they saw Prince of Egypt. I mean, that's
they're fine. They're fine.
For Passover. That reminds me, I need to log Snow White for them. Oh yeah, Val Kilmer was Moses, right?
Yeah, I think so. If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I think Goldblum was in that too.
Possibly. Oh yeah, Aaron. He was Aaron. No, this is brother.
I think so. Pretty sure.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It was useful because I wasn't going to show them the Charlton Heston ones yet.
Oh no.
So no, it's too long and it's live action. And,
yeah, they would probably lose interest. I get you.
Yeah, but you never know. I mean, it's I might try it. They survived Sound of Music. They're actually into Sound of. They watched it twice now. Sound of
Oh, it's a
Music.
good movie.
But the because the
Mhm.
musical interludes kind of hold it together.
It helps that the Sound of Music is largely about kids too. There's a whole bunch of kid characters.
Yeah, it helps. But I think they might be, especially because they know the Passover story. I think they might survive. I might next Passover. I might attempt the Ten Commandments,
Hmm.
the real deal.
Huh.
Nice. When are you going to
Yeah.
show them Ben-Hur?
Yeah, that's further down the line. We'll get there eventually. There's a movie that wasn't like Ben-Hur. I mean, they remade, of course. They did the recent Exodus thing,
Well,
but
they remade Ben-Hur.
they
It was
remade Ben-Hur as well, right? Pretty
yeah.
recently,
Let me look real quick. I think it lost a ton of money. Uh, let me just.
2016.
Was it 2016?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely there. You go. That's Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments. Those are movies that should have not been remade, but
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
that's on the level of like Lawrence of Arabia and Ben-Hur. I like the fact that they, much like my name, they
Hyphenate. Yeah.
hyphenate, yeah,
Son of Her.
son of her.
According to Box Office Mojo, the 2019 Ben-Hur. Does it have its budget here? I don't know if it talk. Yeah. Oh, there it is. $100 million to make this movie. Domestically, it made 26. Internationally, it made 67 for a grand total of 94. They lost $6 million on that movie, and that's probably doesn't count the cost they did to market the film. I bet.
Yeah, I guess they learned their lesson there. Hopefully,
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I don't even know for sure, but I don't remember it having a star. I mean, you go from Charlton Heston to like someone that's not even a household name. That probably doesn't seem like a good idea.
yeah, exactly, because the story doesn't have any recognition to it. I mean, it's
Well, except for as
any
one of the best movies ever made.
yeah, exactly. But the people who love that old movie would just rewatch the old movie. They're not gonna watch a new
Absolutely,
version of it. It's not like there was anything wrong with the original movie.
absolutely.
It's like the special effects weren't good enough. I mean, it
Yeah.
was very adequate.
I mean, oh, that was a Timur Bekmambetov film. That's funny. I don't want to sound like I'm talking trash. It's just that guy's made some bad movies. Uh, but
That's
no,
the Night Watch director.
yeah, well, that was a good movie. But Jack Houston was Judah Ben-Hur. What has he done? Has he done anything? He was a character in American Hustle, but I don't remember who. Oh well. Anyway,
What are you gonna
um,
do?
oh, and he was in this movie that I wanted to show you guys.
Well, I was gonna say like speaking
Whatever.
of like movies that can't be remade,
Yeah.
I think probably to some degree every Kubrick movie can't be remade.
And I was kind of
Maybe,
gonna
Mhm.
mention something about
maybe
that.
some, I mean, I know Lolita was remade, at least another
Um,
adaptation of the book
so was
with Jeremy
The
Irons.
Shining. The Shining was remade.
Oh, The Shining was the miniseries. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean
like the
that
books.
counts.
Yeah, book adaptations. I feel like it's easier to, and technically most of Kubrick's movies are book adaptations. So, but I don't think anybody is ever gonna attempt to remake 2001. I mean,
Well,
they attempted to
certainly
make a
should.
sequel and it didn't work. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Um,
that's definitely a movie.
I was gonna mention that too because I was looking at my movies earlier and I was like, I saw a Full Metal Jacket and I was like, is anything he's ever made something that should ever even be attempted? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, especially definitely not. Yeah, but I would say 2001 and Doctor Strangelove. And to some degree, A Clockwork Orange, because there's something about those three movies that is just so pitch perfect, and I think mainly The Shining and Lolita is because the books are so famous. I mean, like at least in
Yeah,
the case of The
anytime
Shining,
somebody
Shining, the
Make,
author is famous, but Lolita is just again, the author is just so famous
yeah.
that it's you're gonna find someone who wants to remake the novel.
I think anytime the book is beloved and then it gets made, even if it's made really well, you're always going to have those people who are lovers of the book who will try to convince financiers and film studios, like, oh, if we just put this in and we just put this in that was left out, it's going to be so much better. So, like, for better or worse, sometimes better, but for better or worse, it's like, I think you're right with any novelization remake, you will probably get somebody doing it eventually.
And there is an argument to be made that like Kubrick's Lolita was very, very limited because of the restrictions and all that, the themes that he couldn't really explore deeply enough in the book that I did see. If I'm not mistaken, I saw, if not the whole thing, most of it, the Jeremy Irons version, and it's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's almost like all out sex they're having there, whereas like everything is very, very insinuated, like in Kubrick's Lolita. So
Yeah. Is there anything that jumps out at you guys as something that definitely should be remade or could easily?
to be improved upon.
Yeah.
Anything with Greta Garbo.
We covered
Yeah, yeah, we covered that. No, I mean, I can see there's definitely you can always come up with movies that I mean, obviously Casablanca shouldn't be remade, but then you look at some of those other movies from that period that could be. I mean, there might be something there that is worth remaking to some degree, like
Sure.
because of lack of again, technology, things like that.
That's the reason, what you just said right now, that's the reason why, even though I think the original King Kong is like a phenomenal movie, I don't really get mad about the fact that they've remade it like 3 times and with other various spin-offs and stuff like that, because it's like, it's a movie about a 50 something foot ape. It's like, people are going to want to try, they're going to want to see how real they can make it.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's what I'm thinking mostly is technological restraints and how you can improve on it, especially if it's not like a classic.
Personally, after seeing what they did with Bumblebee, I would have loved for them to, Hasbro, to try and just start fresh and salt the earth and do a completely fresh Transformers franchise, because this one that's coming out soon doesn't look good
It seems like they're attempting. I mean, Optimus
and
Prime looks
failing.
like Optimus Prime. I mean, he doesn't look like a cockroach. I mean, it seems like so. That's improvement. But yes, I don't know how
Yeah,
good
but
of a
we're talking
movie it
about baby
is.
steps of improvements. I'm talking about, like, let's start fresh with a whole new feel, a whole new direction, a whole, like the way that Bumblebee was,
Yeah,
like, if they were to step further into that direction, don't just take a step in that direction, like go even further than that movie did, and just start a whole new franchise. I would back that, just.
yeah. At this point, it might take another reboot. But it seems
That's what
like
I'm
that.
saying. I'm saying don't
Yeah,
continue the story. Reboot. Start fresh.
yeah. No, but it does seem like they're trying to go for some similar visual representation to what the animated show was. Some of the characters, at least, they're not bringing
Sure.
a lot of them back, but they're also adding a lot of other ones like those beasts.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's too. I don't get it. Like everybody's so into nostalgia. Like they'll make all this nostalgia stuff, and then Transformers like fuck it. We don't want nostalgia. We want to completely revamp it and not do anything
Yeah.
similar to what the animated show was that everybody loved. It's
Yep.
like everything else you like lean on us nostalgia. Like the Super Mario. He looks like Super Mario. He doesn't look like a cockroach. You know.
And that movie made like $100 million or $1 billion or something like that. I don't even know what it made. It made a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the Transformers movies did well, but who cares? But it's just definitely not for me, unfortunately. Bumblebee was not bad. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Yeah.